the passenger and looked after the airfares in the market. There is another example that I would like to give, which is of the Mahakumbh. We have seen that there was extraordinary demand for people across the country and outside the country also who wanted to go to Prayagraj at that time. And because of the sudden surge in demand and the capacity being same as what it was before, there was a huge rise in airfares at the time. So what the government did at that time was to cap the fares which were going to Prayagraj. That was the second instance. And the third instance, when we have seen in Pahalgam, when the attack happened at that time, and Srinagar, especially, this is a different kind of situation where people were trying to come out of Srinagar. So it was at that time, again, to facilitate for the people and the passengers who were coming out. We observed that there was a necessity for government to interfere. We exclusively used the power and we have capped the fares again. While keeping the market deregulation intact, because the whole idea of open sky needs to be there for competition to survive, whenever it was necessary in those extraordinary circumstances, the government has used its power. And recently also we have seen during the IndiGo crisis where there was a capacity constraint. There were many cancellations. There were many routes where the airlines was not able to operate, because of which there was a capacity constraint. So again, it was observed that if we don't interfere, there could be a rise in airfares. Immediately we have stepped in, we have released an order, and this time we have done the categories based on the distance, and clearly we have communicated to the airlines that there has to be a capping in airfares. I'm mentioning the point saying that because the government has the exclusive power in extraordinary circumstances when they feel that the airfares are rising above the normal and becoming abnormal, then we are taking up that step. Another initiative that we have taken. This ministry is continuously connected to the people and listens to the people, takes feedback from the people. And that has been the complete approach of this government, especially under the leadership of our Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji. Alliance Air, still a government entity. It is running ATRs across the country. It is especially running the most important routes in the northeast area and also many different destinations where it might not be viable for different players to come in. Government has taken it upon itself to run those routes so that the people in those areas also get connectivity. The new initiative, the new experiment we have started, this was very recently in October we have started with Alliance Air, was Faresa Fursat. We wanted to see, because there is a lot of discussion on capping of fares, let us see if we can cap the fares to a certain extent, what kind of benefit it is being given to the ultimate consumer or the passenger, and how is the viability of the airlines. So this special initiative that we have done, which is Faresa Fursat, which is a pilot project for 3 months, Alliance Air, more than 54 routes it is operating in the country. We have selected certain 25 routes where the demand is good, some where the viability not be good. So 25 routes across the country, both northeast, south India, northern part of India, west, east. We have taken up all operations, 25 routes we have earmarked. And in these 25 routes, we have fixed up the fare for that route. And now, in these 3 months, it is still ongoing until December 31st, this Faresa Fursat scheme is going on. And we want to observe. Now, if I have capped the fares, how is it benefiting the passenger is one? Because there are many other things which are involved. This is a not single-way solution that you are observing that the fares are up and you cap the fares or you make them limited to a certain extent and the ultimate benefit is going to the passenger, because it is not just that one travel for that passenger. There is a sector here. There is the viability of the airlines. There is an airport that is operating. There are multiple levels in civil aviation for the passenger to go from point A to come out at point B. There are multiple different sectors which are continuously like a symphony working in tandem so that the passenger can go from one place to other. And it is important for us to ensure this whole tandem, the whole connectivity that is there in between, everything is viable in its operations. So that is why the Faresa Fursat scheme is there. Government is very closely observing how the feedback on this, especially this scheme, and how the passengers are responding to it. So once that is done, definitely we are going to sit down, observe the feedback, and then if necessary, consider this with the private airlines also. And some other measures that we are doing, because this capacity constraint, usually, madam, if you see, I have statistics also to prove that when we are comparing the airfares of the country with airfares in different other places, especially internationally, the rate of growth that we have seen in the airfares is actually negative. In relative terms, in real terms, there has been 43% decrease in the airfares when you consider the consumer price index also. So if you compare with US or China, US it has decreased at 23%, China 34%, but India, the decrease has been up to 43% in relative terms when you compare with the consumer price index and the inflation also that has happened. So if you compare your own tariffs from previous years, previous decades, we have been maintaining a certain sort of level which is still affordable for the people. But in those terms also, when do you observe this airfares rise? It is not that every day they are rising, you see an increase in the fares. When these festive seasons are there, when there is a specific demand that originates in this location for most people to travel, and exactly the examples were also taken, Kerala during Onam, during Christmas, during that specific period, most of the people who are working in the Gulf area, they all want to come back and visit their families in that time. There is a specific season that you see that there is a huge capacity that is going to be there, and those are the routes, specific routes also you can see that this is where the airfares are rising because of the demand that originates. And then you see in the North India sometimes during the Durga Puja, the Calcutta routes are on a surge. During Diwali area, the whole northern sector that is on a rise, and also during Chhat Puja, whatever is going to Bihar, that is on a rise. These are all specific seasons. It is not that I can cap a fare for the entire season, entire year to a certain sector, because there are still, this is why market demand and market supply is very, very important for us to understand. They kind of play in such a way that they regulate the fares on its own. But when we observe, because we also know that there are seasons, because we also know there are capacity constraints in those seasons, we have reacted accordingly. When this Kerala situation observed, and after me becoming the minister also, this was exactly in September of 24, when the Kerala, the Gulf and the Kerala routes, when we observed that, see, what else can we do? What else can we do in this time so that we can facilitate for the people who want to travel and can keep the fares at a very adjustable price? Then we added capacity. We have spoken to the airlines well in advance. We have said this is a situation which is happening every year. Why don't we provide the more capacity in this region so that more people can travel? This is exactly what we have done in that time. More flights which were not operating or non-viable routes across the country, they were taken out. They were brought into this specific sector so that that can facilitate for the demand that it was created. And on top of Onam, during this Kumbh Mela also, everyone wanted to travel to Prayagraj. So we have increased the flights that are going to Prayagraj. So not only capping the fare, but the capacity needs to be augmented. That is the real solution when you are seeing that the fares are rising, because there is demand there. It is not that you want to send that single passenger in a very adjustable price. You want to send 10 passengers to that place during that specific time. So capacity augmentation is something which is very much required, and we have done that. Kerala during the Onam, and Diwali during Diwali also we have done recently in October 25. Prayagraj, Kumbh Mela in Jan 25. So we have worked out this solution when we speak with the airlines before and consider the festive season and increase the capacity. And also, madam, we have to understand what goes into these airfares. I have talked about what some of the measures that we have taken, and also airfares is not a single entity. There are different charges that go into the airfare, and one of the most important one is the aircraft fuel. ATF goes up to 40%, 40 to 45% of the ticket price that you pay is because of the ATF. And the way ATF is there in the country, the state taxes the ATF. And there are multiple states who have brought it below 5%. We are very thankful to them. There are 26 states and union territories which have brought it down because they understand that even if you lose a small revenue in this taxation for the ATF, the kind of economic growth that it creates, the kind of growth aviation network creates for other industries is very, very important, and it is with that idea that it was being done. But there are some states which still have it at a very high percentage, and it is multiple times. Our predecessor Sindhya ji is also here. He has written and spoken on this many times and written to chief ministers, and I have also taken that responsibility. I have written to chief ministers whenever I get the opportunity to meet them. I have spoken to them on this very specific issue to please bring down the ATF, because if you bring it down, then definitely that also helps the passenger and the cost that it takes. And we have done it with Bihar also. Bihar used to have 29%, but in June 25, they have responded and they have brought in it below 4%. And there is one state, Tamil Nadu also, Manikamji is here. So I will take this opportunity through this discussion also to encourage the state government to bring it down as much as possible, not 4%, but bring it down to 1%, so that this benefit of the taxation also is being extended to the passenger at the end. And now this is the ATF. And when it comes to the DGCA measures, DGCA is also a very important regulator for us. It also looks after the safety. It also looked after the airlines and their operations. Now there is a tariff sheet which is being done by the airlines to see how are we going to charge. The tariff sheet mentions the minimum fare for a certain route, maximum fare for a certain route, and they have this bucket system where through buckets they see how many seats are going to be allocated at a certain price. Not many would be knowing about this, but whenever you go to the website and you purchase a ticket, there is a clear tariff sheet that is mentioned there. But here the airlines also used to be doing their own chalaki. What they used to do, tariff sheet, because according to the law, they have to do it prominently somewhere, they have to display the tariff sheet. But we were also doing our own monitoring. We were checking where is the tariff sheet, but we used to go to the web page and it used to take ages to look at it, where the tariff sheet it is right at the bottom, and even the letters with which it was written was only, you can see it only if you use a binoculars. It was at that situation. Then we said this is not the purpose of through which the law has been kept. Then we have updated them, they have instructed them that whenever they open, the tariff sheet should be seen right in the front in big letters so that every passenger can see it. We have brought that change, we have monitored that change. Now the tariff sheet is thoroughly displayed. But not only tariff sheet. Now earlier there was the rule that the tariff sheet, there was a small clause which gave an advantage to the airlines that every day they can change the tariff sheet. ऐसा होगा तो कैसे होगा? आज का टैरिफ शीट आज का बन रहा है, आज का टिकट हमने ले लिया, कल का टैरिफ शीट कल का बन रहा है, तो again it's not serving the purpose. Then we changed the clause. Then we changed the rule that was giving that clause, that measure, and we said you won't change it every day. You won't change it every 24 hours. You will only change it every month, so that once the passenger sees at the head of the month, first week of the month, they have to give us the tariff sheet saying in that sector, in this month, how much are you going to charge, how many bucket charges you have. So everything the passenger should know on what charges it will be there. So we have changed it to 1 month. That is also a facility that the passenger will have. I would encourage more passengers to look into this tariff sheet, to look at how the pricing is done, what is the minimum bucket, what is the maximum bucket. And this we have done it last year itself, and we have observing some changes because it improves the monitoring mechanism that we have on these airlines and their tariff sheets. And also on top of this, there is a tariff monitoring unit that we have created in DGCA. And the purpose of this specifically is to look into what the pricing is and how the airfares are fixed. Are they following the tariff sheet or not? Are there abnormal situations that are being created? So specifically just for tariffs, we have created a tariff monitoring unit, and it has been strengthened time and again through various measures. And earlier, when it started with around 50 routes. But now we have expanded to 78 routes. We are also taking international sectors also right now to understand where and how these tariff fares are being changed and how they are being done. And the tariff monitoring unit, which is going to be a very important unit for us to monitor these tariffs, we are bringing in more IT tools. We are bringing in more technology, so that the power at the TMU increases and they can analyze the fares in a very tech-based manner using the IT tools also to analyze. So that is one thing that we have done, and we are also improving the capacity with which TMU works, not only in the routes that are being covered, and also in the number of people that you are doing it. So this is one. And then the most important thing in civil aviation sector in the last 10 years, this is a success story that not only me, who is part of this government, can talk about. Everyone on both sides, all across this house, they can all speak about it, that the Udan scheme was one of the most successful scheme, not only for the country, but for people across the world that we can showcase to. Udan scheme has made democratized air travel in the country. The way we have brought inclusiveness in civil aviation is because of the Udan scheme. The number of unserved and underserved airports in the country, there was a big number. And there was a challenge for us because there were these airlines who were looking at commercial interests. Naturally, the airlines would look at viable routes to function. And that is the most metro routes or the tier 2 to metro routes. But we have been creating airports across the country, especially in the northeast, in our union territories, where they might be not viable to function, but still they need air connectivity. People were aspiring to have air connectivity in the country. So that was when our Honorable Prime Minister came up with this flagship scheme of Udan, Ude Desh Ka Aam Nagrik, and it has done wonders to civil aviation sector in this country. Whatever we experience, we have gone through different places now where people would have not ever thought that they would have an airport at that location. Because of the Udan scheme, we were able to start an airport there. Because of Udan scheme, we were able to start operations there. Today, almost 1,57 lakh people have availed the benefit of Udan. More than 3,26,000 routes have taken over in Udan. More than 693 routes, specific routes which were not there before. Because of Udan scheme, we have started. But there are certain limitations in Udan. The Udan scheme also is not like just to cater for the viability or just to start new connections. Udan scheme is supposed to act like a spark. Wherever there is a route which is not functional, we wanted to start the route, bring in the viability, bring in people, attach them to aviation, attach them to air travel, and let the private sector take its place. It is with this idea that the Udan was brought in, and it was envisioned for 10 years. But I can tell you right now, madam, this in the last budget, Honorable Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharamanji, understanding the importance of this specific Udan scheme, because like I told, it is only for 10 years. So we were on the verge of completion of the Udan scheme, but she has made the provision that Udan is going to be expanded for 10 more years. This is a great thing for our civil aviation as we are trying to grow more and more in the next few years. Not only expansion for the next 10 years, but she has specifically mentioned that 120 new destinations are going to be covered. That is the strength that civil aviation has in this country. 120 new destinations. How many we have today? 164 airports. 164 is a vast network. But look at the capacity of the country. We are not stopping here. If we want to achieve Viksit Bharat, we have to connect each and every location as much as possible with civil aviation. In the next 10 years, we are going to do 120 destinations, and Udan is going to. And what is the biggest benefit Udan has done to the country? I've talked about many of them, but one of the biggest one is that new airlines have come in. New airlines, which many of you, because they operate in very specific sectors, you might not see them. Star Air is there, Fly 91 is there, India One is there. They might have very small operations. They might have a 9-seater or a 19-seater, but they are the ones who are connecting the tier 3 cities. They are the ones who are connecting the remotest parts. You would have never seen these kind of airlines come into the country. But it is because of Udan. They found a way to come in. Is it not what we want? This is exactly what we want. More airlines to come in. More competition to be there in the country. And Udan is specifically looking into that. Now, in the last 10 years, if we can see so much success in Udan, with modifications on the Udan, which is going to facilitate for more people to come in, more competition to be there, more routes being established and more connectivity being established. Imagine the kind of growth we can see with the new expanded Udan in the next 10 years. Definitely, I see the vision that there are going to be more and more airlines coming in the future. I can assure the House that there will be more and more airlines with the Udan scheme also, that it's going to come. I've talked about the tier 2 city connections and tier 3 city connections through Udan, madam, and that we are going to expand. And also in this last 18 months of me being the minister, we have given NOC to 3 new airlines also. And 2 new airlines have also applied for NOC. So this is a continuous activity. We are engaging with the stakeholders. We are engaging with the market. We are creating that aspiration that if you want to be in this sector, this is the time that you want to start a new airline, because the demand is continuously growing. This is the approach of the government also, that we need more airlines. And not only this, I would also like the people here to understand the real bottleneck here. Airports we are creating. Airlines, we have the Udan scheme where we are encouraging, we are giving the viability and all that. Availability of the aircrafts is the serious issue that we all need to understand. There are only certain players across the world who are making these aircrafts. If I have a lot of money to buy aircrafts, if I go sit today that I am going to start an airline today, I have the unlimited amount of money for me and I want to buy 100 or 200 aircrafts. I can't have this 100, 200 aircrafts right here, right now, today. Because the manufacturing at which it is going comes at a pace. Every month, There are certain factories that they have. There are certain assembly lines that they have. They can only, the throughput of these shops are only that much. And they are not only supplying for India, they are supplying for across the world. There is a huge demand in Gulf. There is a huge demand in Asia Pacific region, and everyone is having to wait for this. India is also waiting. How many orders do we have? 1,700 orders. 1,700 orders pending with Airbus, pending with Boeing, pending with other players. Once we get this, if let us say these 1,700 orders, which our airlines are doing it today, if they all come into our sector, then definitely it is going to benefit the passengers. But the bottleneck is not within the country or with the government or with the airlines. It is the availability of these airlines. We have recognized that. And that is exactly why this government has taken a stance that we are not going to only wait for these aircrafts to be built across. We are going to create a program where the aircrafts can be built in the country. We should have a made in India aircraft also, and that is the vision with which this government is moving. There is a Russian Sukhoi SJ-100, which is a regional aircraft. We are talking with them. HAL is engaging with them. They have gone into an MOU. They are going to get the technology here so we can build the plane here. Embraer is a very good plane, very efficient plane. We are seeing Star Air, which is operating on Embraer, giving good connectivity to these tier 2 cities. They are also trying to increase increase their operations. We are talking with Embraer. We are telling them, please come to India and manufacture your shop here so that we can manufacture the aircrafts here. If you have 1,700 demand for 1,700 aircrafts in the future, and if you can get the companies to come and build in this own country, then imagine how much easier it is going to be for people